Hey guys, what's coming? You can't really see me due to the reflection in the background over there. But anyway, um, my 30th birthday is coming up Sunday, July the 27th, 22, master number, life path, born July 27 of 1995. Join me for the women's Euro final, England against Spain. I will watch the Euro final, then head off to Tucson to see all of my family for my 30th birthday. So I'm very excited. If you want to celebrate the 30th, you can drop a donation to the Cash App BigBallaT. I don't have any Patreon. I don't do Patreon, but for the 30th birthday. If you want to donate to the super chat, to my Cash App, you're more than welcome to. But, it's been a long ride. There's been a lot of great calls over the years, some swings and misses. And honestly, when I approach the 3-0, basically, I think I've done this for the first time in the NFL. I've offered balanced perspectives for each side, and normally the big ball of T styles that come in and say this team's gonna win and this is the matchup and here's why this is gonna happen. That's the big ball of T way of making a prediction. But I think a more balanced approach, I think, is the best way to guide you towards the best two options to keep an open perspective for every team out there. So in Major League Baseball, got to pay attention, to the Milwaukee Brewers. They beat the Dodgers. They have a similar record. You just don't want to overlook them because they're not Bryce Harper or Juan Soto or any of these teams in the American League. You don't want to blow past the Toronto Blue Jays, for example. You want to give Guerrero and Lauer and all these guys on the Blue Jays a chance. So I think automatic assumptions. I think is avoiding automatic assumptions. There's no problem with making the prediction. That's your number one prediction, but here's number two, and here's number three, and as far as betting goes, hedging. Hedging's the big one. The future parlay that I had in 2022, I had 7 legs. So it was Liverpool to win, to lift the cup, the FA Cup, Roma to win in 90 minutes in the Conference League final, which they did, City to win the Scudetto, Milan to win the Scudetto. The other ones, it was, Argentina, obviously, to win the World Cup. And it was like $50 to turn that into 80,000, and basically I was one leg short, and the leg that didn't hit was the Yankees to win the World Series, and that was the year that Judge broke the record for single season American League home runs. And back then, let's say you do the same exact parlay with $50. You do that same exact parlay for $50. And the other parlay, so how you do this is that 7 leg parlay. That one had the Yankees to win the American League, 50 additional dollars on the same exact parlay, except on that parlay you bet on the Astros to win the World Series. And basically that's just a good way of hedging your bet, and you have a confidence scale of which legs are going to hit. And, basically, I knew I was going to win if all the legs are going to hit, because 2022, I knew without a shadow of doubt that Argentina was going to win the World Cup. And so if you have a sport like baseball where, a lot of uncertainty, then you do the same exact parlay and you mix up all the different teams that can win the World Series. But I thank you, Daniel, by the way. And I, you know, the big bet coming up, I think. Well, I know that this is the big bet. I mean, the big bet I basically have is I win $200,000 if the Lakers win the championship, Inter Miami wins the MLS Cup, the Lions win the NFC, and the Tigers win the American League. As of now, the Tigers, I don't want to overreact with the Tigers, but yeah, they're struggling right now, the Tigers. Scubo's on a maternity leave. They said Eugenio Suarez was going to go to the Mariners, but today they got Josh Naylor. So maybe this improves the chances of Eugenio Suarez going to the Tigers. I hope Eugenio Suarez does go to the Tigers, and that'll just increase the probability that they do win the American League. But those 4 legs hit, that's $200,000. My 30th birthday is going to see GOAT King LeBron James begin the back-to-back this upcoming NBA season. LeBron's come on to 30. England's playing in the final on my birthday. England's come on to 30. Yeah, sorry, Italia. Sorry. We got screwed against England. I thought it was a penalty against Italia in extra time. I bet on the under in that game. It did end 1-1. And then I put a bet on England to win in extra time before penalties, and they did. But still, it was kind of a BS penalty there. But no doubts, I think for the women's Euro final, I think Spain are going to win. But they're by far the best team. Germany have won 8 women's titles. I think if you beat Germany, the team that's traditionally good in the European Championship, then you win the Euro. Spain won the World Cup. And how I look at it is England, they're not winning in 90 minutes. They're showing vulnerability. They had to win in penalties against Sweden, and they almost had to force a penalty shootout against Italia. So they're not winning in 90 minutes. Clearly, they had to struggle against Italia. They had to struggle against Germany. So I think Spain should win the final. I think that they should be able to win. But the Premier League winner. So people are speaking about Diego Jota. Liverpool are going to win the Premier League as a tribute to Diego Jota in his death in the car crash. But it doesn't automatically mean that Liverpool are going to win, because he is number 20. If he was going to die, then Liverpool is going to win their 20th title before his death. I don't know if it's not like the cabal have rigged the title for Diego Jota and then he dies. I just think that I think we live in I believe in I believe in free will, but I think to an extent, I think predestiny. I think predestiny is real to an extent. Although I feel that we technically do have free will, but I don't know why. I feel that things just happen predestined organically, and the creator knows what's going to happen before it's going to happen. I think that's the concept of predestiny. But I think the two concepts mesh together. You have free will to a degree, but there's predestiny. But I think as far as Diego Jota goes, I mean, they did win the 20th title before his death. So they did win. They did give him a championship before he died. And I think now Arsenal are going to take it. Now, I had Man City winning 2 seasons ago. They did. Arsenal finished second, so conventional wisdom, Arsenal going to win the Premier League. And so I had Arsenal last year. Now, things were meant for Liverpool. They were not scoring goals in open play, no striker, the false nine, Havertz, this and that. I just think that now they don't have to rely on 9 different players. They have a guy who they know can score any night. Somebody they can play the ball to up front. And really, they didn't have any striker that they can play the ball up front to. And Gabriel, wanted to play, but Arsenal were looking at the long term with next year's Premier League. So I think they were very conservative with Gabriel's health. And I think it was Gabriel that said, we are going to get over the line. I can show the article, but I think this Premier League championship is going to kind of tie into the Queen's death when you think of 2026 and 2025. I think when you look at the Premier League championship last season, Arsenal is 25. I thought they'd lift the cup in 2025, but really looking back at it, how we look at interpretation right on the year 2025 or in this season beginning in year 2025. And so how I look at Arsenal is, if Arsenal's 2025, then the Premier League season beginning in 25 is when they finally get over the line. And I purposely waited until the transfers were official, Arsenal going to miss out of Gyökeres, and so these kind of things. Since Gyökeres is basically jetting off to London, then I think they stole a player from Liverpool, Arsenal. I know they got, Wirtz, but Timo Werner was really good in Bundesliga. He didn't work out in the Premier League, so I'm looking at that. And people are questioning, does he play in the easy league or whatever? But I think when you've got a lot of service to play the ball to you, I think he's going to be okay. I think we'll see if Salah, the fitness in his 30s and that. So that's something else we're looking at, is the fitness of Salah. He was not fit during the African Cup of Nations last year. So Liverpool, they had a pretty good cushion, so it didn't cost them. Now, better defense, Arsenal, but can they score goals in open play is the real question. Can they score goals in open play? You're going to have to if you want to win the league. But I'll be sure to tie this on to the Queen's death. I'll be certain to. It's definitely going to play a big role with it. So keep you posted on that video, and I'll be here for the Women's Euro final, and we're in a dead period in the sports world right now. No NFL, but again, game of the week videos. Keeping an eye out on all of the AFC contenders. The contract situation in Cincinnati. I'm not worried about the contract situation. I'm of the view that they are going to come away with the contract for Trey Hendrickson and the first-round draft pick Stewart. But I'm closely monitoring the Cincinnati Bengals. But Bill's got to make it next year. Forget about Mr. Ale Alapa, whatever. Aaron Rodgers. I've got nothing against psychedelics, but Aaron Rodgers, his mind is drifting somewhere else. This one guy thinks the Steelers are going to win, but I bet you Aaron Rodgers is ready to pack his bags. He's checked out mentally. He's picking up another check, and ultimately his body's going to give in. He knows his body is not going to last 17, 18 games. And ultimately, he's a locker room problem. That's what's going to go against Aaron Rodgers. He's in a much harder division. He's got much more physical defenses to deal with the Baltimore Orioles and I know the Browns suck offensively, no quarterback, but the Browns still the top-notch defense. I think Myles Garrett resigned with Cleveland, didn't he? So, I mean, the Browns defense, it's top 5, top 10 caliber material. So it's not going to be easy on Aaron Rodgers. Could he get injured at any point? He can. He's got a good running game. He's got good defense. He's got support, but Aaron Rodgers is broken and his mind is off somewhere else. Podcasting, ayahuasca, master meditator, spiritual enlightenment leader. Aaron Rodgers clearly is just looking to get one last paycheck. I mean, $100 million is $100 million. How much money were the Jets paying him? I mean, that's why you still play, because the paychecks are bigger than when you started out in the NFL. They were far, far bigger today than they were back in 2005 when he first became a starter in 2010. They were far bigger paychecks than before. So that's why you're still playing. You may just be cashing in one final big paycheck. Inflation has gone up for NFL player salaries. That's why he's still playing. But I think mentally he is somewhere else. I just saw the goal, Uruguay, first goal in open play. Nobody was there to get the striker. Good finish. The goalkeeping is terrible in Copa America. Goalkeeping was a joke in the Euros. How did that goalkeeper got beat in the near post? I'm talking about the goal between Spain and Germany. The goalkeeping, the Italian keeper was terrible too in the group stage. The goalkeeping is a joke, quite frankly. It was straight to the keeper too. They have slow reaction times. I'm not into the sexism or whatever. There's nobody in the stands. These stadiums are packed in the Euros. Copa America, there's nobody there. There's nobody there. Empty, completely empty. That looks like it could be a 5K seater, but nobody's there. Nobody. I thought they loved football in South America. So they're not showing any love for the women's game. 2-0 Uruguay. 1-0 Argentina over Ecuador. They're topping their group. But this is a great campaign. Oh, Argentina player hit the post. Close. Argentina is still on top of their group. I know nothing about who's good in the women's Copa America, but the Euros, it was always going to be England and Spain. And I know people are going to say, Arsenal, they won the Women's Champions League against Barcelona. I don't know how Arsenal did in the knockouts of the Women's Champions League, but the England team, they had to go to extra time. The Germans are 8-time winners of the Euros. They're the best team historically. We did good, Italia, but good block, shot over the bar by the Chilean women over there. It's Arsenal. You can never say for sure. You can never say for sure. Because it's in the history. I think that the 20th title was for number 20, Diego Jota, before he died. Now Arsenal can win. Liverpool did win the Premier League before Diego Jota died. They did win the 20th title before number 20 passed away. It shouldn't automatically mean that Liverpool are going to win the league. Hey, no, we don't want to see anyone pass away. Believe me. I don't have a sibling today because of that. But Diego Jota, he did win the Premier League. He did win the Premier League. He came out on top. He came out on top. What can you say? Didn't he win he won the Nation League, right? He won the Nation League, didn't he, Diego Jota? Not every death is a death ritual. Like Diego Maradona, he was definitely sacrificed. He was definitely sacrificed on a 22 day in November of 2020. Now, he was sacrificed. Jota, shit just happens. Car accidents, they fucking happen. Shit happens. Accidents happen. What can you say? I'm not calling that one a death sacrifice, but Diego Maradona was a death sacrifice, definitely. Kobe was a death sacrifice. Michael Jordan's father was a death sacrifice. Art Modell was a death sacrifice. He passed away, and the Baltimore Ravens won Super Bowl 47. He was a death sacrifice. George Steinbrenner died after the Yankees won the championship it was a new Yankee Stadium then. In 2009, they won the title. George died in 2010. Let me pull up the articles. I'll share Gabriel with you. It's a biblical name. Gabriel Martinelli, Gabriel defender. Just like the Egyptian pharaoh, Mohammed, prophet Mohammed. It's spelled Mohammed, M-O. It's not M-U, but still, Mohammed Salah ends the Premier League title drought. The Egyptian pharaoh ends the Premier League title drought. This was a big story the other day. This year will be different for Arsenal, is the headline. And he has a contract extension, so he's going nowhere. He is fully committed. As a result, his teammates are not dealing with any distractions. I've been at the club for 5 years now. I've seen how much the club has grown. I am here to win big titles. I do believe this season will be different. We have let a couple of titles slip through. We almost won, but I think this year things will be different. I have a lot of faith in that. I only have one thing, and Mikel says it. We are ready to reach new heights this season. I don't think we can give excuses. We did everything we could in the last 3 years. I feel like we had a little bit of bad luck, but we all believe we can win big titles. They made it to the semifinal of Champions League against PSG, after all. See, that's probably where they get their belief, is beating Real Madrid. I believe it. I believe it because they've got the best defense in the Premier League, and this team is too good to not be scoring more goals in open play. Set piece bullshit, I think. They're not going to be saying, oh, we need a set piece to win this game. I think that bullshit ends. That's probably why last year was rigged, I think. They were scoring left and right, 23, 24, and then suddenly all these open goals stopped. It's like something didn't make sense. It makes sense there. So I think it's different, definitely. I think now they're going to be going back to the way that Arsenal should be playing, quite frankly. I think with the way that they were playing, it's just like score goals in open play. They're playing too defensive. Uh, having actually Martin Odegaard being out didn't help, obviously, but they've got somebody else from Sociedad that I don't know about. Marino can play multiple positions. Liverpool is still going to be up there. Kevin De Bruyne is the GOAT. You see, Serie A and Premier League is different. I mean, no guarantee Reinders is going to be the same player in the Premier League. More physical, faster. We'll see how Reinders handles the Premier League. He's a good player for Milan, though, but different style in Serie A. Argentina 2-0. Argentina win Copa America women's. Hopefully they get the job done. When is the deal going to be official? That's a transfer window. They got a guy from Chelsea, and the big one is a striker. I don't know where Vlahovic is going. When is the transfer salary going to end? They're pretty much in agreement. Some last details, I guess. Any latest? They book a guy, Kara's Medical. So it is happening. It is happening. Okay. They got the striker, and now they're going to win the Premier League. There it is. Just like City got the striker, they won the Champions League the very next year. I look at this like Man City's shortcomings in the Champions League. They got the striker, and they won the Champions League. So finally, he listened to the fans, Pep. Same way with their struggle to win the Premier League. Now all it takes is having a good guy to play the ball up front. No one else can score on the wings or in the midfield. Get a lucky deflection, play it to the striker. That's going to be what puts them over the line. I'll definitely tie everything into the Premier League. The Arteta, and this can be the only trophy, by the way. Like, this is what's going to make it intriguing. Is they're going to be out of the Champions League, they're going to be out of the FA Cup, they're going to be out of the Carabao Cup. It's Premier League or bust. It's going to be the only trophy they win next year, I think. It definitely is Premier League or bust. I think everything else that they're not going to win, it's so they're bottlers. Are they going to bottle this March? It's April. Are they going to bottle it just like they did 3 years ago? It's like 3 years ago. That's when it's really, 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 really good. That's what's in store for us this upcoming season, the Premier League. Bye-bye. I'll be here on Sunday for the final, and I'll be off to my folks in Marana, and hopefully, I hope Spain wins. I hope they do. That was never. I thought it was a penalty at first. Mark Clattenburg said that both players are fighting for the ball, so that's not a penalty. He's an Englishman, by the way. Mark Clattenburg says that's not a penalty. So we did get screwed. I think if Girelli didn't get hurt, we would have buried the chance to be up 2-0. We would be playing in the final, and Girelli wasn't there, and we didn't score the goal, and it shit happens. That's a very heartbreaking way to lose when you're literally a minute away from a penalty shootout. But very much improved Euro campaign for the Italian women, and get knocked out of the group stage of the World Cup and beat Norway. And we give hell for both Spain and England. We gave both of them hell. It was terrible goalkeeping. That's the only reason why Spain beat us to begin with. But hopefully we win the Euro sometime. And for the women, in my lifetime, I've seen the World Cup for the men. I've seen the Euros for the men. So semifinal finish, pretty good. But hopefully we can have a knockout appearance in the next Women's World Cup. So I continue to build off of that. All right, I'll be here for the final on Sunday. Bye-bye. Ciao. Ciao, ragazzi.